Everyone, this is the convening of the Cottonwood Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood for presentation of proclamations, awards, and introduction of new city employees to be held on December 7th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. So up first, we have a proclamation, which is Friends of the Verde Week. We're a little bit late on this in regards to the celebration that Friends of the Verde had. That's okay, we're not the only ones. There's another community or two that was a little behind the eight ball on this as well. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and read this proclamation. And the Verde River is about 170 miles long. This proclamation started out about that same length, but we've been able to pare it down a little bit, so I should be able to get through it in short order here. So, whereas 10 years ago, on December 27, 2011, Friends of the Verde River Greenway was formed to preserve, enhance, and promote the scenic, natural, historic, cultural, and recreational resources of the Verde River Greenway corridor. And in 2017, Friends of the Verde River was born out of the merger of Friends of Verde River Greenway, Verde Valley Nature Organization, and Verde River Basin Partnership. And whereas the mission and vision of Friends of the Verde River is to work collaboratively for a healthy, flowing Verde River system that supports our natural environment, vibrant communities, and quality of life for future generations by working proactively to restore habitat, sustain river flows, and build supportive communities. And whereas the watershed of the Verde River encompasses 6,600 square miles and includes Sycamore Creek, Oak Creek, West Fork, Spring Creek, and other tributaries that contribute to the over 580 miles of streams and creeks in the watershed. And whereas to date, Friends of the Verde River has restored 10,357 acres of riverside forest to native vegetation, has employed over 200 Conservation Corps youth and military veterans for habitat restoration, has kept 19 million gallons of water flowing in the Verde River since 2016 through the Verde River Exchange, continues to mobilize countless volunteers to restore habitat and promote the Verde River and its tributary streams. Each year brings over 450 people to the region for the Verde Valley Birding and Nature Festival, along with hosting other conservation-focused events, and annually contributes significantly to the regional economy. Now therefore, I, Tim Alinsky, Mayor of the City of Cottonwood, do hereby proclaim December 14th through December 20th, 2021 as Verde River Week in honor of this history of Friends of the Verde River and its contributions to our community, and that the City of Cottonwood gives special recognition to the following founding members of the Board of Directors who have served and those who continue to serve to keep our rivers and creeks healthy and flowing, thus supporting our communities. And they include Stephen Max Castillo, Peggy Chaikin, Marcia Fouts, Tony Joya, Diane Jones, Jane Moore, Delbert Chip Norton, and Bob Rothrock. And we have Nancy Steele, who's the Director of Friends of the Verde, here to receive this proclamation. Would you care to come up and say a few words, introduce some of your board members?
Thank you. It's a real honor to be receiving this proclamation from the City of Cottonwood, the city in which we have our headquarters. And I've been very, very proud to be an employee of an executive director of Friends of the Verde River for these last several years. But I want to introduce some of those founding board members who are the reason why we're here today. We've got Chip Norton and Tony Joya. If you two want to come up and say anything?
Well, sure. It won't be as long as the proclamation. Probably only about a 10-minute, 10-mile.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you, Mayor and Council and Manager Corbin, for doing this. When I first started getting involved in river conservation in the Verde Valley, these were things that didn't happen. And I think it's a real tribute to everyone working together collaboratively that a lot has been done, and I think it's really been an economic driver and something that's really brought communities together. Yeah. So I appreciate you taking the lead on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will be brief. Just don't tell anyone in Camp Verde, please. Chip, who is cycling off the board, I just wanted to make note, has been the juggernaut and really brought us to the point of such effective professionalism in the Friends of the Verde River. I am still in awe He's done a million things to make it what it is today, along with the bringing in staff and the collaboration all over the country, actually, and the education that he's helped to bring to many people. And I want to thank Cottonwood, the residents of Cottonwood, certainly the council, the businesses of Cottonwood, everyone who keeps supporting the Verde River and the efforts on the river. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll just note, Tony is the last founder standing, still serving on the board. So, thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. I want to point out, too, that some of your two of your founding members were former mayors, too. Tony Joya, of course, mayor of Camp Verde, our own mayor, Diane Jones, who didn't matter what the subject was, she could never say anything without talking about the Verde River in the same sentence. So you've had a long history of support, and we appreciate all your efforts here. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can we get a picture with council and the people from the Friends here?
You say where?
I was looking for my pen to put on. You always have it. You always have it on. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have a presentation from Local First Arizona Rural Development, and this is an update on rural development. Good evening.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, thanks so much for having me here today. My name is Braxton. I'm the Rural Economic Development Manager with Local First Arizona. I'm here to talk to you about some of our upcoming programs, 3 of them for 2022. So our first program that we want to talk to you about is the Rural Community Strength Index. We're really excited about this, and we want to give a special thank you to Ron Corbin. We actually did a beta launch of this in Cottonwood already, and Ron was on our steering committee, so thank you so much for that, and we're excited now to launch it fully. So what the Rural Community Strength Index is it's a tool that puts numbers to the community development efforts that are happening every day within a community. So what we did is we looked nationwide at the efforts happening within rural development, the tools that were being used, how impact was being measured, and we distilled that information down to these 5 pillars that we believe really reflects the strength and resilience of a community. So those 5 pillars are business strength and entrepreneurship, community connection and engagement, talent development and retention, resource stewardship and sustainability, and health and well-being. And what we're seeing here is a breakdown of this example community being given scores within each of those 5 pillars, as well as an overall benchmark score. How is that, from a big picture perspective, how is that community doing in terms of strength? And then what we can do with this information is begin to leverage it to figure out where do we want to allocate resources and energy to begin to move, pull levers in each of these different areas, and how are we then measuring the impact of those efforts that are being made. So we really pulled comprehensive data from a variety of places in order to make up this index. We have over 125 data points that we collected, and we were really intentional about not reinventing the wheel and not duplicating efforts. So we pulled a lot of this data from Center for the Future of Arizona, Arizona Water Blueprint, the census, and a number of other sources that you can see here. But what we also did is we wanted to pull local data from the community that we were indexing as well. So we did 3 surveys. We surveyed the business leaders, community leaders, and residents to collect qualitative data from them. So we have this quantitative data at a macro level coming from state and federal sources, but then also distilling it down at a local level so that it becomes a really unique local community-driven set of data points. So what then comes out of this, what we're looking at here is what we call an opportunity plan. So this is now breaking down one specific score of a specific pillar for this example community. This is the talent development and retention pillar. And so we can see the overall score for that pillar, but then also we're distilling down even further into these sub-pillars so we can really start to understand what levers need to be pulled to then impact that score. So for example, this community might look at this information and say professional development is pretty strong, but job quality is maybe where we want to allocate more energy and more programs to start to move that number forward. And then the data table that you're seeing at the bottom here is each of those specific data points that actually created those numbers within the sub-pillars. So we're getting really granular about what is impacting this score and what can be done to further impact that score. And then another component of this that we're really proud of, what you're seeing on the right-hand side of the slide, is then statewide partners and programs that we're going to be recommending as solutions or opportunities to then address the challenges or maybe some of the pain points that were identified within the data. So we're not, showing you, here's some numbers, now you can figure out what to do with it. We're actually providing solutions and resources that you can then decide how you want to use that within your community. So again, this is an overall snapshot of what a community's scores can look like, and this then becomes a tool for things like strategic planning. I know Cottonwood specifically is considering a strategic plan for 2022, so this index can be used as a preemptive tool to get some really specific quantitative and qualitative data to inform the decisions that are coming out of the strategic planning process. Similarly, it can be used as a guide for budgeting and policy, determining where do we want to allocate those funds to, again, move those numbers forward. It connects you to a statewide network of resources, and again, it's community-level outcomes that are being looked at to determine what are some valuable next steps that can be used by the community. So it becomes a really great operational tool to make some of those decisions. And then our second program that we want to talk about is the Rural Business Academy, which we're really excited about. What this is a unique series of training geared specifically to rural business owners. It's a 12-person cohort that would participate in the training over the course of 6 weeks. Each of the 6-week trainings is a 2-hour virtual classroom setting, and the business participants select one of 4 intensive training courses that are the most relevant to them. So these 4 course topics we identified as being particularly relevant to rural business owners through research and interview and work within rural communities. One of those topics is access to capital. So for this 6-week course, businesses would be learning things such as banking fundamentals, wealth management and employee retirement funds, how to evaluate and transition your business. And what we wanted to be really intentional about in this program is providing not only really high quality information, but specific actionable tools that businesses can use right then and there in their business to help advance them and move them forward. So the key tangible tool for this course would be customized financial statements and cash flow statements. The second course that we have as part of the Academy is digital marketing strategy. Businesses would be learning completely how to optimize all of their digital presence, everything from Facebook, Yelp to Instagram. And their key tool would be a social media calendar where they're going to plan out all the posts across all of their social media for an entire month in advance, so it's ready to launch at the conclusion of the course. Then we have talent recruitment and retention, where they'll be learning things like how to optimize job descriptions, creating strategies for effective candidate screening, a customized onboarding plan, and that's actually the tangible tool for this course would be a customized recruitment and retention plan. And then the fourth topic is customer attraction and retention, as well as customer experience. So for this one, we would actually be doing a secret shopper for each of the business participants to give them specific KPI measurements of what is the experience like from a customer perspective for their business, what can they do to improve that, and therefore better retain customers, and also strategies for how to attract new customers as well. So that is the Rural Business Academy. And then finally, the third program that we want to talk about is this funding that we've received from the Arizona Office of Tourism. The entire scope of work for this has not been finalized yet, but it is going to look like some version of what you see on this slide. We will have funding available for programs such as branding, graphic design, marketing and communications plans. Cottonwood already has an community profile through Local First, but we're going to be launching sort of the 2.0 version of that in 2022, where potential visitors can actually drag and drop and choose within a community what restaurants they want to go to, what attractions they want to see, and build their own custom itinerary for that community. Small Wonders maps we have also already done in the Verde Valley, but we're bringing that back again and have some ideas of how that what that could look like for Cottonwood. And then this funding could also potentially reduce the cost associated with the Rural Business Academy. And that is all for me. Thank you so much for your time, and my contact information, as well as our Director of Rural Programs, Liza, is up there if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Any questions for Ms. Hines? No? Should we just stay tuned then as you roll these programs out in case there's any business owners here that we want to refer?
Yes, for the Rural Business Academy specifically, we'll be doing some additional launching steps and working with communities if they're interested in launching that, what recruitment for the cohort would look like. And then as soon as we have funding for the Arizona Office of Tourism finalized, we'll let Cottonwood know so they know the details of that.
Okay, great.
Mr. Mayor, and we're in line for the Rural Academy program. Our name's on the list, and we have a little bit of funding set aside to do matching. So we're excited about that. As soon as it's ready to go, council will know.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. I know we have a couple business owners up here, including myself, that have taken advantage of the membership of Local First and really find a lot of value in what you do for rural Arizona. So thank you.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, last for this pre-meeting, we have introduction of new employees. We have just one employee this evening, and it's Mr. Jeff Tripp, our new airport manager.
Mr. Mayor, I have the privilege of introducing Mr. Tripp. So over the last couple months, we've been looking for an airport manager. Several applications, several interviews, phone interviews, several in-person interviews. And we finally got to meet and selected Mr. Jeff Tripp. He is an experienced airport manager, comes from us most recently from the Prescott Airport over there, where he was, I believe it was operations supervisor, but did a lot of great things, and I'll let him talk about that. Over the years, Cottonwood has managed the airport through other duties as assigned. A couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, council authorized it to become a part-time position, and we were able to find someone to help us then. We then turned it in this budget year to a full-time position, and now we now have a professional airport manager. We're very excited. He has graduated twice from Embry-Riddle. Looked like once in Florida, once in Prescott, with both a master's degree and a bachelor's degree. So very excited to have him on board. He has been in Arizona a very long time. His parents, his parents are down in
Eloy?
Eloy, that's right, down in Eloy. And he has a daughter who lives in Salt Lake. So with that, this is Jeff Tripp, our new airport manager.
Okay. Well, Mayor Council, thank you very much, and we're happy to be here. As Ron said, I've lived in the state since '91. I actually came here first to go to Fort Huachuca through the Army Intelligence School as a reservist, and then I was in the National Guard at the unit across the street from the Embry-Riddle campus. I spent 4 years going there for aviation business degree, and then when I graduated in '96, started out my career as a part-time maintenance worker at Prescott, moved down to the Phoenix area, and I'd worked in an operations position at Scottsdale for 2.5 years, an administrative internship at Chandler for a year before I came back to Prescott for 7 years as the assistant airport manager, where I was overseeing operations, maintenance, safety, and security, as well as running the then city-run fuel concession. I moved back down to Phoenix to work 7 years as the products coordinator in operations and products at Mesa Falcon Field. Back up to Prescott for 2 years as the manager, and then went on to Oregon to a far larger airport, a slight stop in Michigan, and then I came back here a little over 2.5 years ago to act as the project coordinator for the new terminal at the Prescott Airport, something I've been wanting to try to build for 25 years. So it was nice to get that done. Then due to circumstances, I stepped back into essentially my old role as the operations superintendent, so I was wearing a lot of different hats. And then I decided that I'd gotten the terminal built. There was a chance to get back into a management role and the opportunity to still be able to live, work, and play in both Prescott, where I still have my house, and then still work over here and commute. I need to get the best of both worlds, so I still get to experience, all that Northern Arizona has to offer. As Ron mentioned, my family's been here. My parents moved from Boston in '98, I believe. Not for me, of course, for their granddaughter. My daughter somehow managed to get into aviation to the back door. She's working at Salt Lake Airport now, helping to install the baggage handling system in their terminal expansion. So aviation has kind of been in the blood. Having worked at some of the airports in Arizona, I'm definitely experienced, in the full range of airport topics and issues, including noise abatement, coming from Prescott to Mesa Falcon Field, particularly where they were vastly, busier airports, but the issues and concerns that the citizens have are still a lot of the same things: noise, safety, evaluation. So they're in tune to what the current complaints have been over the last 4 years. And then, of course, dealing with Embry-Riddle, I can't seem to shake them. So every time I look around, they're still here. But with that, I'll say if there's any questions I can answer for council this time.
Council, any questions for Mr. Tripp?
No, it's welcome. I see you're already very popular with a certain segment of our population. I think we've got your back.
Well, it sounds like you're
that.
highly qualified, Mr. Tripp, and certainly I'm pleased that you chose Cottonwood.
Thank you, and I look forward to working with you.
Good, very good. All right. That's it for this pre-meeting. Oh, just real quickly, Marcia Fout, what? Who, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Tripp, sorry. We got to get a picture of you. My apologies. Tosca knows what's going on.